Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. This is GenchoMoto and today we don't have any funny intro, but I'm going to show you a Lexus IS220D. No! The interior! Let's get started. Now my trousers are so dirty because I was polishing a car today, but it's actually ridiculous. It looks like, I'm not even gonna say how I look like. This here is Lexus IS Generation 2 and it's pretty much built to compete with BMW 3 Series and Mercedes C-Class. I'm not going to involve Audi in that situation because what's the similarity in between all of them? It has front wheel based engine with a rear wheel drive, so basically same as BMW and Mercedes with only one difference. This is 10 times cheaper. Let me show you around. So IS starts in 2005 and it's been built all the way down to 2013, and we have quite a few different engines which we're going to speak about later on. This one here is 2007 and as you can see it has a very pretty looking shape. As soon as you see it, I personally like the shape better than the C-Class. I personally like the shape better than the 3 Series. I just think it looks a lot more aggressive with them headlights, bumpers, edgy tail lights. As you can see, that light sort of comes out a bit more than where the bonnet is. It's just that car has something to it. It looks a bit more like a coupe than a saloon, but in the same time you have 4 doors and it's big enough for a normal family. They mainly come up with 17 or 18 inch wheels. This example is with 18 inch wheels, and we've got the 2.2 diesel with 170 brake horsepower, which again we're going to talk a bit more in a second. And we have HID lights which are adaptive, so every time you steer they steer with you. Automatic they are as well, which is just one out of many extras that Lexus decide to chuck into this IS second generation model. It's just crazy how stuffed this is, and for the price where you can get a top spec Lexus you won't be able to get anywhere as near a C-Class or a E46 for their money with that extras. It's gonna be even hard to find one that is a basic model, to be fair. So let me show you the extras around. First extras that we get is a key fob, which means keyless entry and keyless start as well. So with a press of a button, okay, we don't have keyless entry, we have keyless locking, so we're just gonna lock it with the key. First extra is this. You just casually walk into your car, and let me show you something very cool that you won't find from the same age Mercedes or BMW that has it. Come here, look at the cluster. So you've got a check-in and then it just starts. Then you turn it off and your wheel goes back in place for easy access when you're going out. Let me turn this off. We have folding mirrors, which also when you reverse they fold down so you can see, and that way you don't scratch any curbs. Then obviously the door's full of extras, the interior's full of extras. We've got a massive boot, again 4 doors. Let me quickly show you the boot. It has a very good anti-theft system, massive boot for your family, and then everything is electric, even the wheel cap. You won't be able to open it unless you go inside and press a button. In general, if they're maintained well, they can last forever and they're pretty reliable. Suspension and service, it can be a bit expensive. Everything is expensive with them, but as I said, if you maintain them on time, then you won't have to worry so much about it. Suspension wise is based on Toyota, so everyone knows that this is reliable. Engine wise, if you decide to go for the diesel one, boom, everything's just neat, plastics everywhere so you don't have to see anything. And them clips, when you're servicing the car, they usually get lost, and obviously from there get it missing and you get little rattles. When you go to see a diesel example of them, always look for leaking injectors, because that is one common issue, and unfortunately with them you cannot refurb them, you have to get them brand new. I wouldn't recommend second hand because they're weak. When you go to see a diesel example of them, always take off that cover, look at the injectors if they're leaking or anything, because unfortunately you cannot get them refurbed, and it's best to buy them brand new. That's the only reason why, is if you get a second hand one and it turns out it's leaking, you wasted your money. So again, very quickly give it a good check, then put the cover back. I like how futuristic it's made, everything is like nicely covered. Engine wise, we have one diesel one and 3 petrol ones, so let me quickly tell you about them, what's their pros and what's their cons. Starting with the diesel ones, as I said already, we have a 4-cylinder 2.2 177 brake horsepower, very reliable, but as I said already, look for the injectors because they can be pretty costly to repair. It is pretty economical on motorway, but in town drive it is a bit juicy, I have to admit. With a decent remap, that thing flies. I would much more prefer it than the petrol ones. And petrol engines, the first one and the smallest displacement that we have here is the 2.5 naturally aspirated engine with 208 horsepower, which is decent, it is reliable, but they do have some problems with the gas circulation valve. Although it's not that expensive to fix, it is a bit juicy, but if you're not a fan of the diesel and you want something a little bit cheaper to run, the 2.5 is probably better for you. I have to mention that the diesel ones are coming with a 6-speed manual gearbox, which is fairly decent, very reliable, and the petrol ones you get to choose between 6-speed manual and a 6-speed automatic gearbox. The automatic gearbox can cause some issues, but you have to service it on time, then this is going to reduce the risk. Also, unfortunately, with the diesel ones we only get rear wheel drive, where with the petrol ones we get a front wheel drive as well. And we have the 3.5 naturally aspirated 310 horsepower, which is sort of the competitor of the BMW M3. It is fast, I have to say, it is fast. And if you put wings on the side of the car, you're ready to take off to the moon, basically. Let me shut the bonnet and let's go inside. Before we get in, I just want to quickly show you the interior from here and tell you a bit more about it. They come with fabric seats, they come with leather seats, and they come with Alcantara leather seats. You don't get any Alcantara in a BMW from the same age, or it's going to be very, very rarely to get it. But the Alcantara just looks super sick if you take care of it and clean it nice and properly. This car is on 170k on clock, and the leather still looks very, very presentable with no rips. Obviously there is some wear and tear, but there is no rips. And when you open the door and you see the Alcantara saloon with all them extras, because this is the top spec model, it just smells luxury. It tells you, look, I'm a luxury car, I want you to drive me, I want you to enjoy me. And for that price where you can get him, this one particularly we've picked up for 1,500 quid, which, I mean, come on, let's open marketplace quickly. We put 2007 C-Class, for example, and then we get 4 grand. It's the first one, 100k on clock. Again, it's a 2.2 diesel. And we get a half leather seats. You go inside. Comparing to this one, we do have dual climate control, same as this one, but then this one doesn't have sat nav. It looks a lot more plastic than the Lexus, I would say. And I mean, to be fair, it can only go worse and worse. With them, for you to get a top spec model C-Class, you're going to be looking to pay at least 7 grand. And let's go to the BMW and then let's have a look at this one, for example. Basic leather seats, as you can see. Comparing to these ones, they're fully electric, and they have 3 stages of memory, which is pretty cool. One for yourself, one for the missus, one for the grandma, or one for the grandpa, depends who's driving the car. And let's get inside and let me just show you more and more and more extras, because this one is fully loaded. Right, so hopping inside the interior of the car, I will probably repeat myself again, but I have to say that the whole interior of this one is Alcantara. Even the door cards, The armrest here, everything is Alcantara. So let's start the vehicle because it's pretty cold outside. I already show you the clocks and how they're doing their checks every time you start the car. It's just everything about this car screams I'm not from this age, I am newer-ish. They're very cool LED clocks, and once you go over the 80 miles an hour they light up in orange, so it sort of indicates you that you should be a bit more cautious. Then on the side, as usual, we have our controls for the window, locks, mirrors. I won't show you this again, it's just over and over with like any other car that we usually get. Then we have the two little buttons here for the trunk and for the petrol cap, so if you're wondering where they are, because there's no other way you can get to them, they're just down here. And then we have a button right on the side of the steering wheel, which is for the parking sensors, and that comes up on your little dashboard out there, and then you can dim your clocks or no. And then we have the ESP button just over here. Then that's just normal stuff that any car has nowadays. Then a very cool thing is that joystick here, which controls the wheel up, down, backwards and forwards. It's quite nice and comfy because it's not like a massive stick. And then we do have a mobile phone, we do have a trip control and all the extras right here on the steering wheel like any other one. And we do have that little stick here, which is for your cruise control. As soon as you press it, it lights up on the dashboard. Everything is super easy with this car because anything you press, it comes up either on the sat nav or it comes either up on the screen, so there's no other way around it. Another very cool thing which you won't get in Mercedes or BMW is 3 stages of heated seats, so you can choose between obviously 1, 2 and 3. With Mercedes, with BMW you're gonna get mainly 2. Actually only 2. And then we have the sat nav, which for 2007 works great because this is the original sat nav and it's touchscreen. It is obviously a bit outdated with the maps, so you have to find a CD which is fully updated. All the buttons are right over here for anything that you need, like Windows. I don't even know what that one does. Then we have our media here, but it's quite cool because it comes on the sat nav. And then we have the temperature. Let me just quickly show you because I don't even know how to properly operate them yet. Climate, okay, climate control. So your climate control, very cool thing. This is the first time I ever see it in that sort of age of a car. You obviously press the climate and then you set it by touchscreen from the media. Where do you want the fans to blow? And we have them obviously from low all the way up to high, and then you can turn on and off your AC just from here, which is super cool. You can control your temp from them 2 buttons. It's a dual climate control again, so obviously hot and cold as we spoke for in previous videos, or you can just turn off the dual control and that is going to allow you to have the same temperature everywhere just by simply adjusting it from one side. You can either do it from the passenger side or you can either do it from here. Again, pretty cool. Then we go to menu. I'm driving the car for about 2 weeks and I still haven't learned yet how to properly operate the nav. But then we have the mobile phone, we have the Lexus parking assist, so sonar disabled, parking sonar display off. We're just gonna put it on. Something very cool is we have a calendar, so it tells you which day today is and blah, and you can also do your notes on this one. But then if we go back to menu again, sorry, info, and we go to maintenance, it's gonna tell you every single thing about the car. This is another thing that you definitely don't get in a C-Class or a BMW 3 Series, even in most of 5 Series they don't have it. So we go engine oil, it tells you when it's been done and how much you've got remaining. Obviously filters, stations, tires when they were last changed. We've got battery when it was last changed. You can reset that, you go into service, it tells you when. Brake pads again, everything. It just, this car screams luxury. Look at me, I like it a lot. I might even sell my Chrysler and keep this. I haven't decided yet, but I've been driving it for 2 weeks and I am considering getting rid of the Chrysler and keep this for a little while because I just like it. It looks super posh and it's super comfy to drive as well. It gives you a sporty feeling. But then you've got all the extras, and then you have your gear stick here, which is like super short, super nice. And then we have a little badge here, like a sports car with the indicator which gear is going well. And another cool thing that I like is the fact that the handbrake it's on your left hand side instead of on your right hand sides, and you know what it means. Like, I mean, it's a lot more easier to drift. Although the 2.2 diesel doesn't have as much horsepower, and you should do that only on tracks, but I mean, it's still a cool feature. Then we have a ashtray just over here, which the old owner removed. I do appreciate that. You shouldn't smoke in your car. And then we have a little cup holder right over here when you with a press of a button. This is something that I couldn't understand why Lexus did. That cup holder is not broken at all. But then when you open it, it only opens up to here, so it's very hard for you to put a can of Coke, for example. So you can probably use it only for your keyless entry key. Engine start button, like on the E90 BMW. Then we have, so over here, a slate. Ooh, what's that? I don't know what's that. And then we have a 12-volt socket, a little compartment where you can store your stuff. So it slides back and then it goes up. Our central wing mirror is auto dimmable, so again, I think we covered that in our previous episodes, but if you have somebody driving behind you on high beams, this is going to dim automatically, so it doesn't ruin your eyes, it doesn't affect your driving. Then we do have LED side lights on the top, obviously usual little extras here and there. Let me just move my seat. Electric, I like it. So when you go to reverse, we have a camera, rear view camera, that's automatic as well. It indicates you how you can park, what's your distance in between. It's extra. Let me just quickly show you. So we're gonna go forward, just gonna go into reverse, and then this is gonna sort of calculate. Sometimes it goes like guidance unavailable because it's, I mean, it was 2007 when they built that car, so think about this before you judge the car. So it's checking the surroundings. Then we have our sonar signal, which is gonna come up just over here. But it's very cool because it's gonna come up in the central cluster as well, and it's gonna indicate how much you've got left. There we go. And that counts same for the front because we have front parking assistance as well. Sat-nav's pretty easy to operate. You just go onto map and it's extra. In general, this car is super cool. Seats are super comfortable, and they can also inflate and deflate for your back, for a comfort of your back. I have found the ashtray. Press a button and it just comes up. The low box opens with a button. We have two little shelves here and then one here. That is perfect for the booklet and the service history of the car because I've already tested it. You can probably put some little bits and pieces, but don't expect to put many stuff in. You can probably remove that shelving, and then you're gonna have much more room in the car. So now when we covered all of this, we're gonna hop at the back, see how at the back feels. By the way, something that I forgot to say is speakers. We have ton of speakers here, and they're super nice. The quality is very decent. I have to say it's not as decent as a Mercedes sound system, but it is decent enough. Opening in the back, you have to be very careful with that pillar because you can hit your head very badly, and it does hurt. Right, so my seat is just set up for a comfortable drive. I'm here at the back. It's not as bad, it's not as terrible. It does feel a bit tight, I don't know why, but in the same time you can cuddle that Alcantara, so it's like you have your pet in your home. Oh man, I really like the touch and the feeling of this. Anyway, it does feel a bit tight. We have a armrest here, quite a big one, quite a comfy one. A little compartment so you can store some stuff in. And then we have two cup holders, which are sort of for any drink you like. They're universal because they're adjustable. And then we have the ashtray. And somebody that finally found a cure for them pockets. It comes with elastic bands, so you just put something in, then it's gonna go back. There's no way of going saggy anyway. Right, so we have electric wing mirrors, 3 speakers on each door, quite nice and cool. I have little handles here, I have little hooks here for you to hang your clothes if you're going on a business trip with your luxurious Lexus IS 220D or 250 or 350, whatever you have. You have some LED lights for you to read your book. Just shove that back in. I would say for 4 people, the car's perfect. If you're the person that's sitting in the middle. Bear in mind, I'm not that tall. It has no room at all, so you're gonna have to be like this. It's not comfortable at all to be in the middle. It's just because the seat is raised, and on the side you're sort of falling off in like a bucket seat. So that's why probably it's not comfortable. You have little cushions here for the back, quite nice and comfy. And we do have little hooks here, which are indicating basically when your child is pissing you off, you can hang it or you can anchor it. And then there's speakers at the back as well. Oh, there's even more speakers. There's 3 speakers. I thought there's only like 1. Let me do the maths very quickly. So you have 3 and 3 at the back, at the front, 6, 3 and 3 here, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 speakers maybe. I do have to check that on the out data, but I think it's around 16 speakers, which are producing very, very good sound quality. I wouldn't say at the back though, not for a long trip. It is alright, but it does have that tight feeling in. Let's hop down and drive the car a little bit. Let me tell you about the price, and I'll leave you to choose whether this car is for you or not.
Why is it so dirty here, Gencho? Fuck's sake.
Oh, because somebody decided to do a handstand and walk in straight inside the car. Twice. Lights are automatic. They're great. They're HID, as I've mentioned already. Low beams, high beams, they're all great. You get a very good vision. Clutch is a bit sharp, so you have to get used to it, because sometimes when you release it, you feel like the clutch is gonna kick you instead of you kicking the clutch. But the car drives very, very smooth. It's pretty stable. Body roll is not, I wouldn't say it's big. It does have body roll, but it's nothing really major. It's nothing really to worry about. Super responsive steering wheel. Brakes, they feel a bit loose. Like the pedal is stiff, but in the same time, you don't get that sharp stop that you would expect. Acceleration of the 2.2. As I've already said, if you drive it in the city, it's super nippy. It's very easy to drive. As soon as you pass the 2000 RPM and the turbo pulse, this car just flies off. You have to be careful not to skid on some roundabouts, because some roundabouts tend to be pretty slippery. Price range of these vehicles, you can get them for as low as £700 on something that's very, very high mileage and basic model. Even the basic model is full of extras, yet you won't have as many extras as this one, but it is pretty full of extras. Then they go all the way up to even 6-7 grand if it's 2013 on low mileage. Then for you to spend that much money, you have to be a fan of the brand. Simply, you would want to like Lexus. Otherwise, for 7 grand, you'll get like 2013 maybe a C-Class coupe. It all depends what you need the car for at the end of the day. But then something that is around the 2005 and 2009, I would say you can pretty easy pick up top spec model for like maybe 2 grand. This one we picked up for 1,500 and it's on 170k on clock. Drives absolutely fine, it's brilliant. Injectors are in pretty good condition. I've already done the check-in. No knocks or whatsoever. It has full service history from Lexus. So this only proves my point that a car that's been serviced regularly and properly will last forever. There's no car that's not decent. It's just poor ownership basically. Super nippy. Gears are super short, so you go from second, third, fourth, and then everything is literally next to you. I drove a CLK 220 yesterday, and I have to say that it doesn't go as near as this one. Yes, the CLK is like 143 brake horsepower, I think. So this one has like 30 brake horsepower on top. I did a remap of the CLK, and I have to say that even after that remap has been done, this is still faster. So imagine if I put a remap on this one, it's gonna get it up to, I would say, roughly around 200 brake horsepower mark. It's gonna just fly. You know, this is actually the reason why I want to keep it. I might turn it into a track car or like a daily. The Chrysler is nowhere as nippy as this one. I mean, it is nippy, but it's not so responsive as this one. I reckon with a big set of brakes, that can turn up into a pretty good daily driver. And a nice exhaust system. I like it. Every time I get into this car, I'm like, I like it. Honestly, it's weird. Find me a parking space, Lexus. This is it from today's video. I personally like the Lexus. I think I'm gonna keep it for another few weeks. Actually, I might take it off the advert because every time I sit and drive it, it just gives me joy. And weirdly enough, it gives me a better joy than the C-Class, and it gives me a better joy than the BMW. I had both C-Class and E-Class. I'm currently an owner of a C-Class still, D220D CDI. Which is pretty much sort of the same competitor as this one. I do like this one better. I don't know why they're so underrated and undervalued. I think super cheap for what it is. It's super luxurious for what it is. Overall, I think it's a great car, and for 1500, you definitely won't gonna go wrong with having one of these. Just make sure that there's nothing wrong with it, and maybe go to a garage to do a check if the owner agrees. Pay like 20 or 30 quid so they can do a 50-point check, and if you like it, I would definitely recommend getting one. This is it from today's video. I hope you like it. So if you do, please click the like button, put a comment below, share, subscribe, because that's how you help us grow, and that's how you help us make more cool videos like this one. So see you next time.